Good morning, everyone. Welcome back into my kitchen, Cooking with Carol Diane. So glad you're back joining me today on what is called St. Patrick's Day holiday for a lot of people, some not so much. Today I've popped on to show you what I'm going to make that is so simple of what I found just the other day. So the traditional meal for St. Patrick's Day is, yes, corned beef and cabbage. And I'm going to make it today. I have made it for the last couple of years for you. Last year I made kind of a big one that I was doing. The year before that, I was in Arizona and I was visiting my older sister and we made a video together. It was such a riot to do. In fact, I replayed it last night and just laughed my head off. I really did. But today I'm going to do a little bit different, same recipe and everything, but just a little bit different on something I found that I thought I'm not the only one that maybe thinks I don't want to buy a great big 5-6 pound corned beef and, you know, cook it and have all these leftovers and all that. When I found this little guy, and this is so stinking cute, it really is. It is for either one or two people. Two people I'm going to say, because you could either have one meal with this or you could have like me, because I am here by myself today, gonna have dinner. This will make a nice little dinner for me and just a little bit of leftovers tomorrow, and that's all I want. Any more than that, forget it. I don't want that much corned beef or that much cabbage either. And this was so cute. So I've shown you, I got this at Walmart, so go get them there at Walmart. They're in a great big bin, and they come prepackaged like this. Very similar to that roast that I cooked that was prepackaged, either beef or pork. Well, this is the corned beef for corned beef and cabbage. And with this one, so I'm gonna open it up and see what we have in here. I'm just so excited that they finally, somebody thought to do a meal just for one person, you know? So here is the little corned beef, and I don't know if this says, should have read that before, on how many pounds this is. Oh, and I don't see it right offhand. I really don't see that right offhand. I'm going to be cooking it in my smallest little crock pot, but it's just a very nice little size. I'm going to say 2, maybe 3 pounds. I'm not really sure. And then you get the seasoning with this, and then of course you get some carrots. I have 3 potatoes. That's all I need, and a little quarter wedge here of the cabbage. Great, fantastic. I'm so thrilled with what I got the other day. It's like, this is gonna be nice for me. So I'm going to fix this and show you how easy this is. I am gonna make my soda, Irish soda bread, and then I'll show you my little dessert that I'm gonna have. But I'm so glad you came back to join me today. So I'll be right back after I always kind of like to wash things off. So I'll take it out of the plastic, wash everything very well in my sink, and then we'll prepare it together. Be right back. Okay. Okay, I'm back. I have washed all of the vegetables, because that's what I do. I like to wash and make sure everything's nice and clean. I went ahead and brought out my little scale to see just how much on the meat. I did wash the meat because I don't want all of that, the juices that they put in the prepackaged package. And I'm going to put this on here, and it measures about 1.5 pounds. So that's great. 1.5 pounds of meat is all I need. That's fantastic. Okay, so you can do this in the oven, in just like a little Dutch oven pan or roaster pan, or however you want to do it. I'm finding over the years, you can do it on your stove, you can boil this, but I'm finding over the years that if you do this method in a crock pot, oh my gosh, it just makes the meat a lot more tender, doesn't dry it out. So I'm going to go ahead and put the corned beef right in here. And so I only had my 3 little potatoes. I'm going to put those in there. 3 potatoes. And then I'm going to add all these little carrots. They've given me quite a few carrots. And if I wanted to add a couple more just regular little potatoes, I certainly could. But I'm telling you, just for me, this is enough. Now, I am not going to add the cabbage yet. You wait on that cabbage because you don't want it all soggy in there cooking. You just wait on that closer to time of when you're ready to serve this. And it doesn't take very long to cook cabbage. I will be taking off the first layer of the cabbage. I always like to take that part off, and then I will cut this and put it in here after I've cooked it in a pan with some water. I'll just add it later. But I do want it in the juices and everything, so that'll be just a little bit later. Okay, so I've added that. They say on the package, this little instruction sheet, which is kind of cool to have all this, that if you're going to do it in a slow cooker, you place it in a 4 to 8 quart slow cooker. Mine is about that size. And with about a cup of water, well, we'll see here. A cup should be okay. My little look of the Irish over here. So let's go ahead with, that's a good cup right there, okay? And we're gonna go ahead and add the seasoning mix here. I can see what I did with my scissors. There. I have things over here that I'm doing for a little later. For you. For a little later. Gorgeous day in Colorado today. We've had snow, we've had rain, we've had just about everything. But today the sun is out and it's a grand day in Western Colorado. It really is. And I just thought this would be fun to pop back on and show you my little dinner tonight. If you don't like corned beef, you know, if you just want to have a roast today or whatever, you know, that's your preference. But it's just been a tradition to have corned beef and cabbage on St. Patrick's Day. So then I will go ahead and I will cover this. They tell me on the package to turn it on low, which mine is right now on low. I'll plug that in, and to let this cook for a good, 6 hours. So, okay, that's great. So I'm going to pop back on in about 6 hours, between 4 to 6 hours, and start making my soda bread, because everybody likes to watch how I make that. So simple little recipe, so tasty and good. And I'll be back to show you on that. So hang on for some more. Hope you're having a grand day on St. Patrick's Day. I am. Okay, my corned beef and cabbage is cooking away in the crock pot. So now I'm going to show you the simple recipe of the Irish soda bread. And here's the little pan that it's going to go in. If you don't have one of these little Irish soda bread pans, that's okay. Just find you just a little round pan like this. It's got pretty much of a, pardon me, 2-inch lip on it right here, because it is going to rise, this little soda bread. So what we need to begin with is, first, a couple little things. Always, of course, a bowl does help. But what I want to start with is soda bread has raisins in it. If you don't like raisins, you can leave them out, but I do. I like them. So we're going to put that in. And how you want to do your raisins is get you a little saucepan and take some nice fresh raisins. All your ingredients really should be fresh. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out 1 cup of raisins in a little measuring cup, or a glass measuring cup, whichever you have handy. Mine are kind of being in use right now, so I'm just going to go with this one. Measure out 1 cup of the raisins. Lots of nice little raisins. And we're going to put that in a saucepan, okay? And then you're going to add 1 cup of water, just enough water to coat the top of them. set this over on your stove. Hang on just a minute. I'm going to put this on to cook so that these plump up. And once they get hot, once the water gets all hot in there, not even to boiling, I mean, it won't take but a few minutes anyway. And we just want to plump up those little raisins so they're not hard when we start to put them in our batter. So hang on a second. Okay, so that's kind of the first part of getting those started, ready to go. The second would be to set your oven at 350 degrees, get it preheated and ready to go. Now, this recipe calls for some buttermilk, and I don't have any buttermilk, but I'm not going to panic because, of course, there's a way of making homemade buttermilk. So I'm going to take a cup of regular milk. Then I'm going to take some vinegar, and I'm going to add a good tablespoon of vinegar into my milk. Now, because my recipe calls for 1 1/3 cup of buttermilk, I'm going to add just a little bit more of the vinegar. Not much, but just a little bit more. I'm going to give that a stir, and already it's starting to kind of curdle and get a little thicker like what buttermilk is supposed to. Okay? All right, so while this is setting and getting a lot more like buttermilk, now we're going to move on to just the bowl here of our ingredients. So what you need to take is 3 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour, and go ahead and put that in your bowl. You don't have to sift it, just go ahead and put your flour in here. Now again, this makes quite a bit. It's going to make quite a bit in my little Irish bowl here, and it's going to puff up. Then you're going to need 2/3 of a cup of regular household sugar. Add that in. Then you're going to need a 1/2 of a teaspoon, half of a teaspoon here of salt. This is my salt. Okay. Set that aside, put the lid back on my raisin box so it doesn't dry out. Okay, and then we're going to take 1 teaspoon, one teaspoon of baking soda. We start with that. That has some ingredients to make this bread rise. That's the baking soda. And then you will need 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And again, I like to use my little jars. It keeps it fresher than just in those boxes that it dries out. One of that. Okay. And then we need, whoops, forgot 2 eggs. Let me grab them right quick. Well, you know me, I'm always forgetting something. I lay it all out and somehow there's going to be something that I seem to forget. And today it was the eggs. Grab a fork because these need to be slightly beaten. So let's take 2 eggs, put in any kind of a little container. Doesn't matter whether you have a bowl or you still have your measuring cups. Try to use stuff you already have sitting out on your counter. I like to take this and just kind of whip it up. It's been a little while since I've made my videos, hasn't it? But I always seem to forget something. I really do. I've been a little busy. I really have. And I do apologize for kind of letting the videos kind of take a back seat. I don't mean it to be that way, but life gets in the way. It really does. Life gets in the way. Okay, there's that part. Eggs. And I'll do now 4 tablespoons of melted butter, but let me check on my raisins. Alrighty, let's continue this recipe. So I left off with putting the 2 eggs in there that are slightly beaten. Now I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of melted butter. My little dish is a little bit hot on the bottom. Oh, very hot. I usually put mine in the microwave to get it melted. I like my little silicone. I have this on my website, cookingwithcaroldiane.com, that buy these little silicone lids because things don't splatter and get all over your microwave. They're just great for all kinds of stuff. They really are. Okay, so we're going to add the butter, melted butter, in there. And then we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. I am using the good stuff today of my Madagascar vanilla. So here is 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. That in there. Yum, yum, huh? And the tum-tum. Yes, it is. Okay, and now we've got our raisins that have been cooked. I drained off the water of the juice, and now we just have the raisins. And let's see, what else am I forgetting here? The buttermilk. So before I put the raisins in, I'm going to go ahead and add my buttermilk to this now, and it's done just what I want it to do, of getting the milk and the vinegar, making it thicker like what I need for buttermilk. So simple to use when you don't have any buttermilk in the house. And that's all right. Do not sweat the small stuff when you can improvise and make it like this. Yeah, get that going. Just want to get that flour incorporated. It's a lot of flour, 3½ cups. It really is. Now I'll add the raisins in here. Make sure I get them all. Don't want to forget even one of them. And start folding that into your batter nice and evenly. I used to buy this soda bread just in the grocery store already made, and it was okay, don't get me wrong. It's just wasn't fresh like homemade, and to me it was a little dry tasting, the ones in the grocery store. This one won't be. You just want to kind of make sure you get all of that flour that's sitting down there on the bottom of your bowl. Make sure you get that into the batter. It's looking pretty good. It really is. Looking real good. Now I'm going to take my rubber spatula, get it all off the spoon, and mix it just a little bit more, making sure I get all that off the sides of the bowl and in here. This is a heavier batter, a more condensed batter. That's what you need it to be. Now we're going to prepare our dish. And to do that, get any cooking spray. Spray your pan, generous amount on it. And now we're going to add the batter in here on the pan. Pretty quick and easy, isn't it? And you're going to have a nice bread to eat with your corned beef and cabbage meal. There's just nothing better. Really, anybody can do this. It's pretty easy. That's why I like to cook easy recipes for you. I really do. Okay, make sure it's smoothed out to the edges of your pan nice. Just make sure it kind of gets all down and in there. Like I said, it's going to rise and be more of a domed effect. And that's what you want. That is what you want. Now, legend has it. Legend has it. If you make the cross indentation, take a knife and just kind of make the cross effect. Don't know how deep I'm going to get it here. Legend has it that releases the fairies for the day, It wards off the devil. It protects your house, your household. So make that cross design in there, okay? Then we're going to take some caraway seeds. You'll find those where the all kinds of spices are. And you're going to need, I think it's a tablespoon of the caraway seed. And if you want to measure it out, you can. If you just want to sprinkle it on, you can do that too. But that goes on top before you bake it. Before you bake it. Put the caraway seed on there. I'm only going to go with about a teaspoon, not a tablespoon. Put this in that 350-degree oven and bake it for 50 to 60 minutes. You're going to need it almost an hour. Use your cake test method, a toothpick, a sharp knife, whatever you want to do to stick it in there and make sure that it's done in the middle. And while you're waiting, you're almost 60 minutes. I'm a little proud of something right now, so I am going to plug it on my little video. It has nothing to do with cooking, but you know what? When you've worked on something as hard as I have and it's done and it's out for the world to see, you kind of want everybody to see it. So, I wrote a novel many years ago. It's finally published. It's on Amazon.com. It's called Crossroads by C. Diane Wall. This is the book. This is me on the back of the book. 650 pages, and you're going to go back into a time that you want to be this character for sure in the book. I've had lots of comments on this of people really enjoying my novel of what I wrote. I have a second novel being edited right now. It takes time to do all this editing, but I'm working on it as fast as I can, but I'm awful proud of this one. So while this bread is cooking, sit down and read a chapter or two, however long it takes you to read chapters in about an hour. And I think you'll be pleased that you do. So that's my little book called Crossroads. Again, find it on Amazon.com. All right, I'm going to stick my bread in the oven and wait my hour, and then I'll be back on to show you pretty much that the dinner is complete and what I'm having for my simple little dessert on St. Patrick's Day. Catch you in a few. Well, here I am at the end of my video. My dinner is done. And here is the Irish soda bread. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. You know those caraway seeds give a rye flavor or smell to it, like you're eating rye bread? And I love rye bread. I like the light rye bread, I really do. So that's gonna be nice and tasty. Here is the little dinner of the crock pot dinner. Now, it said 6 hours on low. I went 4 hours on low, and then the last 2 hours, I went ahead and boosted up that heat to high to get it done of what I'm used to anyway. So let's just crack open the corned beef here. The knife. Look at that. Look at that. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. I like my corned beef either where it is completely falling apart, shredded, almost like pulled pork, or like this, very, very tender, and that's what this is. I put my cabbage in a separate little pan on the stove with some water, and I got the toughness out of the cabbage leaves before I ever put it in with my corned beef and cabbage as far as in the crock pot. The carrots are nice and tender. Just pick them up with your fork, nice and tender. And look at those nice little potatoes. Look at that. Oh yeah, that's gonna be nice. Very, very nice. Forgot the dessert to show you, hang on. Hang on, you know me. It's always forgetting something. Okay, so my corned beef and cabbage meal tonight consists of all of this, plus I made a little dessert, put it in a cute little little kind of parfait. It's a little dessert dish here of pistachio pudding, just for me. Just for me. So that is my little dinner tonight that I'm going to sit here and enjoy with some nice iced tea. I hope you are having a grand St. Patrick's Day and having luck in your life. My luck came in the form of getting my book published. I'm so excited. Order it on Amazon, please. And so that was my pot of gold, you could say, of my good fortune and good luck for the year. For St. Patrick's Day is this little baby right here. But I hope you've enjoyed my little video. I'll pop back on again with another video. I'll try to get more of these done. I'm sure I can this year. But from my kitchen to yours, happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Miss you. See you again.